Hi and welcome to Yoga with Fortified Coaching. My name is Claire. I'll be taking you through your practice today. So today I'm going through a nice flow class, trying a few different moves, a few new ones, ones we haven't done in our sessions before. Just making sure that you have a nice space to practice in. You have your mat down if you've got one available. Ideally somewhere that you aren't going to be distracted, you aren't going to be tripping and falling over things, sliding around the floor, that kind of thing. I do have props with me today. As ever, I have a brick and I have a strap. Not necessary for your practice. You might want them, but yeah, you don't necessarily need them to do the class today. So we're going to start by mobilising, warming up through our joints, and we're going to start in the standing position. So just standing in your mountain pose, so with your feet hip width apart, shoulders rolled back and down the spine. And we're just going to settle into our breath. So we're feeling nice and tall in this position, lengthening up through the spine. And we're just going to start by sealing up our lips and breathing in through our nose and out through our nose. So trying to get the in-breath the same length as the out-breath throughout the practice if possible. We will be talking about linking our work, our movements with our breath as we go through. You might want to try and do this along with us, or you might just want to work on your body. The breath may come in time, but it really does enhance your practice if you can do that. So starting by mobilising now through our shoulders. So we're just going to start by taking some shoulder rolls forward. So taking them up near the ears over and down. And maybe those circles getting slightly bigger as we move. And in the other direction, rolling them backwards now and down the shoulder blades, pinching those shoulder blades together, stretching out through the chest as we do that. And come to stillness. We're going to warm through our neck now, so just doing circles with our neck as well, so dropping our head down, rolling it round over from one shoulder to the other. And when you're ready, doing that in the other direction. And stop. We're going to stretch into our triceps now, so we'll take the right arm up to the sky, bend at the elbow and take hold of that elbow with the opposite hand. So just giving that a gentle pull, pushing the hand between the shoulder blades and down the back. Keeping the head nice and tall, not leaning forward into this one. And release. Other hand now, so taking the left hand up, bending at the elbow, taking hold of it with the right hand, and again just giving it a little help to push it down the back between the shoulder blades, and remembering to keep nice and tall in this posture. And release. We'll clasp the hands together and push them out in front of us, rounding through the shoulders and the top of the back, feeling a lovely stretch in that area. On our next inhale, just bringing the hands up and over, pushing them high to the ceiling, really stretching through the spine. Releasing the hands, taking them behind the back now, so clasping the hands together behind and pushing that chest out. If you struggle to get your hands to meet, this is where you might want to use a strap to get them as close as possible, and we can progress by working them closer and closer together. So wherever your hands are, on the strap or together, push that chest out and up, gaze straight ahead. Really opening into the chest, into the heart area. And release. Coming lengthways on your mat now, we're going to start by bending over and walking our hands out slightly, coming into a downward facing dog. So what we're looking for here is our hands on the mat Fingers spread nice and wide, hands roughly shoulder width apart. We're looking for a nice straight line towards, from our wrists all the way up through our shoulders towards our bum. So nice and straight. You want your tops of your arms to be in line with your ears. So you might need to melt the chest down a little bit towards the ground to do that. We're also working towards straightening out through the legs, and we're working towards dropping the heels to the floor. This is the first time we've been here. We might be a little bit stiff. We might have quite a bit of bend in our legs and quite high heels, that's fine. But maybe just have a pad out. So 1 foot at a time, stretching up the backs of the legs, the Achilles, the calves, the hamstrings. Maybe just give your head a little shake, rock the hips, just working our way into this posture. And when you're ready, we'll just come to stillness. We're going to take the weight over onto our left hand, and with our right hand, reach towards the left leg. If you can, grabbing a hold of that calf, that ankle, and pulling yourself in a little bit closer. Doesn't matter if you're quite high up, it's just about getting that twist in the spine. When you're ready, plant the right hand back down and go on the other side. So we've got our left hand coming over to our right foot. Trying to keep square so we aren't rolling over from the shoulders. And coming back into our downward facing dog. We're going to drop the knees to the mat, and we're going to come into a child's pose. So you can do a narrow leg child's pose or a wide legs child's pose if that works better for you. You pick whether you want that stretch in the inner thighs as well as in the arms and the back. Just spending a few breaths here, trying to sink our chest and sink our head in towards the mat. You might get contact with the mat, you might not. It's just about getting as far down as you can. Just staying here for a few breaths. When you're ready, just coming up onto all fours into our tabletop position. So here we're looking to have our shoulders over our wrists, our hips over our knees, and we're going to take the right hand and we're going to swoop it up towards the sky, bringing it back down, threading the needle, sliding the back of the hand against the floor or the mat, and lowering ourselves down as close as we can to the mat. If you can make contact with the back of your arm and your cheek, that's great. If not, keep a bit of height off the mat, or use a prop like a brick or a towel or a cushion, anything rolled up underneath, just to give you that little bit of elevation if this is too much for you. Push through that left hand, coming back up into tabletop position, taking the weight this time on the right hand and swooping the left arm up towards the sky, and then threading it behind the right hand, sliding ourselves down onto the mat if possible, or again your option to have that little bit of elevation if you need it. Pushing your weight through the right hand, coming back into that tabletop position. From here we're going to work through a few cycles of cat-cow, mobilising into our spine. So on our inhale we're going to drop our belly, lift our tailbone, take the gaze up towards the sky. And as we exhale, arch that back, tuck the tailbone, taking the gaze down between the knees. Inhale to drop the belly, take the gaze up, lifting the tailbone. And exhale, reverse that into cat position, arching through that back. And just going through a few reps, a few cycles of this in time with your own breath pattern. and in your own time, just coming back to that nice neutral spine into that tabletop position. From here, take the left hand and lift it up so it's nice and parallel to the ground, and take the right toe back and lift it. So we're like a nice straight line parallel to the ground all the way from that left hand down to rather the right toe. And then our next inhale, we're going to very slowly and controlled take the knee and the elbow together. Inhale to stretch out. Exhale, elbow and knee. Inhale, stretching out. Elbow to knee again. Inhale to stretch out. Last time, elbow to knee. And stretch it out and holding it for 3 breaths, for 2, for 1, and coming back down into that tabletop position. On the other side now, so we're lifting our right arm up, taking the left foot back, and when we've got our balance, lift that left leg. On your next inhale, bring the knee to elbow and extend. Knee to elbow again. Extend. So exhale to bring them together. Very controlled, nothing too fast here. Extend. 1 more. Extending and holding for 3, for 2, for 1. Release and just momentarily coming in to a narrow legs child's pose. Maybe taking the arms down by the side of the body with the palms facing upwards. And rolling up. We're now going to go into our sun salutation. So we're going to do 2 different sun salutations today. Really get our body warmed up and get our blood pumping. So we're going to be doing sun salutation A, which is the one that we have done before if you've done any of the other classes. And then we're going to go into sun salutation B, which has some added parts to A, but we're going to go through it all together. It's not going to be overly fast, and I will instruct you for each movement that's coming up. You go in your own time. Don't feel like you have to keep up with me. You might be faster, you might be slower. If you know the movements, you might go faster. But we'll do it so that everyone should be able to meet with us, and choose your options as well. So there's different variations of things like back bends or ways to get into your downward facing dog. You don't have to do the one I do, you do what works for you. So, sun salutation A. Come to stand at the top of your mat now, so you're against the short edge of your mat. We're stood in Tadasana in mountain pose. So shoulders rolled back and down, nice and tall through the spine. So you come with me. We're not watching me run through it before you copy us. We're going to all go together with this one. So inhale to extend that mountain pose. Arms up, tops of your arms by your ears, palms facing each other. Exhale, coming down into a forward fold. Inhale, flat back, hands to either shins or to the ground. Exhale to forward fold. Step, walk or jump back into a plank on your knees or on your toes. Exhale to chaturanga down to the mat, taking your chest to the mat, tucking the elbows in. Inhale to back bend, choosing how high you want to get there. Exhale to tuck the toes and make your way into downward facing dog. Inhale to jump or step in, back into flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to extend that mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. Going again. Inhale to extend that mountain pose. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to step or jump back into a high or low plank. Exhale to chaturanga down to the mat. Inhale to back bend of choice. Exhale to making your way into downward facing dog. Inhale to step or jump in to flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to extended mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. Once more, inhale, extended mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to step or jump back into high or low plank. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to back bend of choice. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale to step or jump in to flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to swoop the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Well done everyone. So that was our sun salutation A. Because sun salutation B is a new one for us, I'm going to slow that down a little bit initially, and then we'll do another couple of rounds at a slightly faster speed. It is a longer sequence, so we've got the same movements that we've just done there, but we're adding some extra ones in. So join me again back at the top of your mat for sun salutation B. So as we inhale this time, we're lifting the arms, but we're going to sit back into our chair pose. So chair pose, you're taking your weight back through the heels, maybe slight tuck of the tailbone under. We don't want to arch in that lower back. Arms up next to the ears. From here, we're going to drop the hands and come into a forward fold. Inhale, come into that flat back, hands to shins or to the ground. And exhale to forward fold again. We're going to step or jump back into that plank position, either on your toes or your knees, and exhale down to the mat, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend of choice, whether it be high or low, whatever works for you. Exhale, tucking the toes, finding our way into our downward facing dog. We're going to swoop the right foot in between the hands, turn on the back foot and come up into warrior one. So warrior one, our pelvis is in the direction of that right knee, arms up near the ears. Then we're going to exhale to swoop the hands back down, framing that foot, stepping it back and working through that sequence of vinyasa. So chaturanga down to the mat. Inhale to back bend. Exhale to make your way back into downward facing dog. On the other side now, so we're going to take the left foot and place that in between the hands and inhale to come up, twisting on that back foot into warrior one. From here, swoop the hands back down again. Inhale to step back into that plank variation and exhale to chaturanga down to the mat. Inhaling to back bend, gaze slightly up towards the sky, and exhale to make our way into our downward facing dog. Take the gaze towards our hands, walk, step or jump into flat back on your inhale. Exhale the forward fold. Inhale to swoop the arms up and sit back in your chair, just as we did at the beginning. And inhale to come to standing. So it is a longer sequence, as I said. We'll keep on moving, maybe get a little bit faster with this, and I will explain each movement that's coming up as we go, so we won't get lost off. So we'll go for 2 more rounds of that in sun salutation B. So inhale to sit back on your chair, arms up next to your ears. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to step or jump back into that plank variation. Exhale to chaturanga down to the mat. Inhale into your back bend. Exhale, hips to sky, downward facing dog. Inhale to step the right foot forward and come up into your warrior one. Exhale to place the hands back down. Inhale to step back into your plank. Exhale to chaturanga down to the mat. Inhale into back bend. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale to step the left foot through, sweeping up into warrior one. Exhale to sweep the hands back down, framing the foot, stepping the foot back. Exhale to chaturanga down to the mat. And inhale into back bend. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale to walk, step or jump in between the hands into flat back. Exhale into forward fold. Inhale, swooping the arms up, sitting back down on that chair. And finally coming up into that mountain pose. Once more through. Inhale, lift the arms, sitting back on that chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to flat back. Exhale to walk, step or jump back into a plank variation. Exhale, chaturanga down to the mat. Inhale, back bend, gaze high. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot forward, sweep the arms up, pivot on the back foot into warrior one. Exhale, frame the foot with the hands. Inhale, step back into plank. Exhale, chaturanga down to the mat. Inhale, into back bend. Exhale, making our way into downward facing dog. Inhale, step the left foot through, swoop the arms up, pivot on the back foot into warrior one. Exhale to swoop the hands down, frame the foot. Inhale to step back into plank variation. Exhale, chaturanga down to the mat. Inhale, back bend of choice. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, walk, stepping or jumping between the hands into flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, swoop the arms up, sitting back on your chair. And exhale, coming up, taking our hands to heart centre. Well done, everybody. Definitely gets the heart rate going, that. Mine's pounding. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes. These sun salutations are fantastic outside of class as well. So they're lovely to do first thing on a morning, to get your body moving, get you warmed up. Slow them right down as well. They're really nice to do before bed, just taking them at a really nice steady pace. Any time of the day really for a sun salutation. And you can do that just alone, rather than part of a full class. 10 minutes on a morning or an evening do you the world of good. So we've got now 2 small-ish floor sections, vinyasa floor sections that we're going to do. So the vinyasa floor, we've done most of the movements, so we've done all of the movements in the floor that we're going to be using for that. So we're going to use it to string together some other asanas, some other postures. So we're going to start off just as we've done many times already today. We're going to go into a downward facing dog. So on your tabletop position, walk your hands forward an inch or two, tuck the toes. Now your next exhale, lift those hips up to the sky. Hopefully feeling a bit different our first one. You know, how does your body feel? Have you got more space in your spine, more space in the backs of those legs? Are your heels a tad lower? I know mine feels better. So from here, we're going to lift our right leg. So we're lifting that to the sky. Trying to keep the hips square, trying to keep the shoulders square. Doesn't matter about the height of your leg that's lifted, as long as we've got some lift. We're going to sweep that through, stepping it between the hands, and inhale to come up into that warrior one that we've already done. So warrior one, we've got that front foot forward, you've got your back foot, it could be at right angles, it could be more 45-degree angle. As long as we're lining up the heel and the arch of the foot, our knees pushed out, we can see our big toe, we're squaring the hips off to the front of the room, sorry, to our straw edge of the mat towards that knee, and arms are up next to our ears. From here, take the hands behind your back, clasp them together if you can, and just like we did in the warm-up, if you can't quite reach that, you can use a strap. We'll inhale to lengthen through our spine, and exhale, humble warrior. So we're taking our weight forward. We're hovering our shoulder, our right shoulder, just above our right knee that aren't in contact. Your gaze is down to your toes and you're lifting your arms as high as you can over your head. They might be quite far down, a couple of inches up, or taking them higher. And we'll hold this for 3, for 2, and for 1. Coming back up to upright, releasing the hands, framing the foot, pivoting on that back foot, stepping the right back to meet the left and working through a vinyasa. So chaturanga down to the mat, inhale into our back bend, and then finding your way into a downward facing dog. So we'll be all meeting here. Whether you're going faster or slower than us, that's fine. We're all meeting back in this position. On the other side now, we'll lift that left leg to the sky. Remember to try and keep those hips nice and square. Rolling forward, stepping that foot between the hands and inhaling to come up into your warrior 1. So remembering that foot placement, remember the alignment of the hips over the left knee in that direction, hands up next to your ears. Can you see your big toe? If not, track that knee out. From here, clasping the hands behind the back. Nice inhale to lengthen through the spine. As we exhale, leaning forward, shoulder hovering over knee, lifting the hands up, gaze down towards the toes. And coming up nice and controlled, warrior 1 feet, releasing the hands, placing them down around that left foot, twisting on the back foot, stepping back into your plank. Remember, when you can be on your knees if you need to. Chaturanga down towards the mat. Inhale into your back bend and exhale to tuck the toes and find your way into warrior, into downward facing dog. And we'll just spend 3 breaths here, settling ourselves, ready for our next round. From here, lift the right foot again, remembering to square hips and shoulders off, leaning forward, swooping that foot. You can give it a hand if you can't get it there in one go, that's fine. Inhaling up into your warrior 1. We're twisting round now into warrior 2. So the difference here, the feet should stay the same, but we should have our hips in this direction. So they should be pointing to the front of the room. Our arms are out, palms facing down, and your gaze is over your right fingers. Can you drop a tad lower? From here, reach over in the direction of your right hand. If a piece of string is pulling you, when you can't reach any further, take that hand up and over. Maybe placing the left hand on the back of the left leg. Gaze up and over the armpits. So we're reversing our warrior here. Or if you like, you can wrap that left hand around the back, taking a hold of the top of the right thigh. Trying to roll your shoulder back here, that top shoulder. Coming back through warrior 2, rotating the hands all the way around, through that foot, stepping back and working through your vinyasa. So chaturanga, back bend, lifting the hips to the sky, meeting our downward facing dog. On the other side now, we lift the left leg to the sky, rolling forward, stepping that foot between the hands, inhaling to come up into warrior 1, but then twisting round into warrior 2, checking the placement of our feet again, checking our knee. Are we deep enough in that front knee? Is our knee over our ankle? Arms out nice and flat, gaze over the left fingers. And now we're going to lean, that piece of string's pulling us. When we can't get any further forward, then we're taking the arm up and over. Hand on that back leg, or wrapped around the waist, holding onto the left thigh. gaze up under the arm towards the sky. Come back into our warrior two. Keep on going with the hands round the front foot, stepping back and working through our vinyasa. So chaturanga, back bend, making our way into downward facing dog. And again, we'll have 3 breaths here, just to settle ourselves. Back onto the right side now, so lifting that right leg to the sky, swooping it through the middle, coming up, and out inhale into warrior one, exhale into warrior two, and we're going to come into a side angle. So you can either rest your elbow on your knee or taking your hand closer to the ground. So that could be taking it on a prop like a brick or a block, or you might be able to get that hand in line with that front foot. And as you inhale, swoop the arm up, keep on going till it goes over the head, looking for as much as you can a straight line from that left foot all the way up to the left fingertips. You'll be having a bit of a tug of war with your knee, your right knee and your right arm pushing against each other, and that's absolutely fine. Holding this here for 3, for 2, for 1, coming back up into warrior 2, then rotating the arms around to frame that front foot, twisting on the back foot, stepping back and working through our vinyasa. So chaturanga down to the mat, inhale, gaze up high, and making our way back into downward facing dog. Taking our left leg to the sky this time, swoop that foot through, stepping it through the centre. Inhale to come up into warrior one, exhale into warrior two. And again, from here you've got your options to take your elbow onto your knee or use that prop for a little bit of height from the floor, or taking your hand down right next to your foot and inhale to swoop the arm up, keep on going and leaning over. Trying, if you can, to take your gaze up under that armpit towards the sky. And staying here for 3 breaths, for 2, and for 1. Swooping back up into warrior 2, and then sweeping the hands over, stepping back and working through our vinyasa. So chaturanga, back bend, making our way into our downward facing dog. Again, a couple of breaths to settle. We've got 1 more on each side in this first vinyasa block, then we're moving on to our second. So lifting the right leg to the sky, swooping it forward, stepping between the hands, pivoting on the back foot, inhale into warrior one, exhale into warrior two, and from here straighten into that front leg, turn the feet so they're facing forwards, and we're going to go into a forward fold. So you can take your hands to your hips, or option to inhale to swoop the arms up nice and tall, and exhale to bend forward, hinging at the waist, coming down to whatever point we make it to. So it could be that you've got your hands on your hips and you're just here, where you might be able to get your hands down to the mat, trying to put your weight into your toes, into the ball of your feet, as opposed to your heels. And if you've got a little bit more to give, start walking the hands back, so you get a little bit more of a pull on the backs of those legs. And if you've walked your hands back, start slowly walking them forward. Take your hands to your hips, and on your next inhale, nice and controlled, bring yourself up. Pivoting on that front foot again now, and we'll take our hands over to the front foot, stepping back and working through a vinyasa. So chaturanga down, back bend, making your way back into downward facing dog. To do the other side now. So lift the left foot up to the sky, sweeping it forward between the hands. Inhale to come up into warrior one. Exhale to come into warrior two. Straight out through those legs now, taking both feet facing maybe the back of the room, depends which way you are now, in the opposite direction. And we're going to inhale to swoop the arms up, nice and tall. Again, the option to put your hands on your hips if you prefer. And exhale to hinge at the waist, coming forward. Now, you might want to try something different here. You might be happy doing what you're doing. Might be happy walking your hands back. But an option, I think your top's going to come above my head here. If you can, taking your head down to the mat. Getting your tripod position with your hands. And nice and controlled, coming into a wide-legged handstand. So for those of you who've practiced your handstands since we did them before, this might be a different variation for you. So I've got a triangle position between my hands and my head. It's a good solid base. Just holding this here. If you're in a headstand, holding it for 3, for 2, for 1, and nice and controlled if you can. Bring those feet back down to the mat and work your way up. If you were in the headstand, just start working your way up with your hands on your hips. Twisting the foot round again and putting the hands down to the mat to step back and work through our vinyasa. So chaturanga, back bend, and finding our way in our downward facing dog. Just having a few breaths here. When you're ready, just lower your knees down, sitting in that narrow-legged child's pose, if you wish. Taking the hands down by the sides with your palms facing upwards. You've done quite a lot with those shoulders, bringing lots and lots of downward facing dogs. We're going to roll back up again, coming into that tabletop position. So we have got another sequence we're going to go through with our vinyasa. We're going to start back in our downward facing dog. So spreading the fingers nice and wide, tucking the toes, and lifting ourselves up. Again, maybe having that check of your body. Does it feel a lot better than the last one? Have you got more space in your spine, in the backs of your legs? Hopefully so. From here, we'll lift the right leg up to the sky, remembering those hips and those shoulders nice and evenly balanced. Swoop that foot through, drop the back knee, uncurl the toes, and we're going to come up into a high lunge. So we're going to inhale, keep the arms going, clasping them behind our heads, and pushing our chest out, pulling those arms open, nipping the shoulder blades together, stretching in the chest. But what we're doing here as well with our hips is we're keeping them square and we're slightly tucking our tailbone under, so we get a lovely stretch in that left hip. Release the hands, place them back down onto the ground, tuck that toe, lift the knee, stepping back and working through our vinyasa. So chaturanga down at the mat, back bend, making our way into downward facing dog. Onto the left side now, so lifting the left leg nice and high, swooping it through, dropping the back knee, curling the toe, uncurling the toe, and on your inhale, swooping the arms up, keep on going over, clasping the hands behind the head. Remember to tuck that tailbone and also push that chest out. Releasing that, taking the hands back down to the mat, tucking the toe, lift the knee, stepping back through your vinyasa. So chaturanga, back bend, coming in to downward facing dog. Lifting into the right leg, swooping that through, but this time not dropping the back knee. We're going to come up and inhale into a high lunge. tucking the tailbone under still, making sure those hips are squared off, taking the hands to prayer, so together in a prayer position in the centre of your chest, but we're going to hook the left elbow over the right knee, and we're going to push our hands towards the centre of our chest, taking our gaze over our right shoulder. If this is too much, you do have the option to drop that back knee. Release that elbow, come back to centre, plant the hands down, stepping back and working through our vinyasa. So chaturanga, back bend, and back into our downward facing dog. Lift the left leg to the sky, swooping that foot through, and inhale to come up into your high lunge. Arms up next to your ears, square hips, bum tucked under slightly, those hips. Taking the hands to prayer position, hooking the right elbow over the left knee, pushing the hands together, taking the gaze over the left shoulder. Lovely spinal twist here. Releasing that elbow, planting the hands down, stepping back, and chaturanga down at the mat. Back bend. Coming into downward facing dog. Just 2 more breaths to settle. Lift the right leg to the sky again, swooping it forward, stepping it through. Inhale to come up into that high lunge again. And from here, taking the left hand, planting it down next to the right foot, and inhale to swoop your arm up and over into a revolved twist. Nice and straight, fingers pointing to the ceiling, gaze up towards those right fingers. From here, swooping that hand down, planting it, stepping it back and working through your vinyasa, chaturanga, back bend, meeting, back in downward facing dog. Inhale to lift that left leg this time, swooping it through, coming up into, high lunge. I'm twisting on my back foot there. From here, this time it's the right hand that comes down next to the left foot. Inhaling to twist round, pointing that arm up towards the sky, taking your gaze up towards the left fingers. Holding that here for 3, for 2, and for 1. Planting that hand back down, stepping back and working through the vinyasa, chaturanga, back bend, and meeting back in downward facing dog. Last one on each side. So lift the right leg nice and high to the sky, swooping that foot through, drop the back knee, uncurl the toes, and we're going to work our way back with our hands, lifting our toe to the sky, leaning forward, hands to the mat or hands to a brick or a prop if you can't get the hands down to the mat. Getting a lovely hamstring stretch in your half Hanumanasana, which is your half splits. Now this might be more than enough for you. You might be able to walk your hands forward slightly. You might be able to take your palms down to the mat. Really importantly, keep length in your spine. Don't hunch over. Lift the chest up and forward. Bending that front knee, coming forward, taking the hands either side of the foot, tucking the toe, lifting the knee, stepping back, and go through our vinyasa. So chaturanga, back bend, back into downward facing dog. Taking the left foot up this time, swooping that forward, stepping it through, dropping the back knee, curling the toe, and then walking the hands back, sitting back slightly with the bum making sure we're getting that stretch up that back of that leg and hamstring. So remembering your options, you can place your hands on a prop if you can't get very far down. Take your fingertips to the mat, walk them forward, or even taking the palms down, but remembering lift the chest and lean forward, reach forward instead of collapsing, but all about making space in that chest and in that back. Coming back over that left foot, planting the hands either side, lifting the toe, stepping back and going through our final vinyasa. So chaturanga, back bend, making our way into downward facing dog, where we'll stay for 3, for 2, for 1, dropping those knees, sitting back again in child's pose with that option to take your hands down by your side if you wish. And just rolling up where you are. I'm going to do just a little bit of a balance challenge before we go into our final stretches and relaxation. So we're going to have a go at figure 4, standing figure 4. So standing up on your mat, getting your balance, so taking your weight through your left foot to start, lifting the right foot up, taking hold of it, crossing it over your knee. That might be enough for you. Or you might be able to sit down into that figure 4, taking your hands to prayer center. So I'll do it from the side. That foot across the knee, crouching down. Now an option to try something, we've got a flying pigeon or a version of a flying pigeon. So we're going to start taking our hands down towards the mat. You might get your fingertips there, that might be enough. Or you might be able to come down so your palms are on the mat, spread nice and wide. Tuck your foot and your knee into the backs of your arms. And just start by trying to get a little bit of air time. It's just working towards it. Whatever level you're at, when you're ready, coming back up, releasing that foot, giving the legs a shake. So you don't have to get that balance, just about tapping the foot up, practicing taking that weight through the hands. It's quite a tough one on the backs of the arms because you're putting quite a lot of your weight through that area. On the other side now, so taking your weight this time, that way, haven't I? Through the opposite foot, so through your right foot, lifting your left knee up, crossing it across your knee, and if you can, sitting down in a prayer position. You might be high up, you might be really working on your balance. You might be able to come down and you're feeling a lot more of your muscles engaged here. So again, the option to try to get down to the mat. So bending down into that knee, taking the hands down towards the ground. Fingertips is a good start. Move a little bit. Taking your hands down, spreading the fingers nice and wide. Just working on just tapping that foot up. Seeing how long you get your balance for. So it's just about having a play about. And when you're ready, coming back up if you got down there, and release. So well done, whatever level you got to. We're now going to go down onto our mats for a few final stretches before we go into our relaxation. So coming down onto your mat, rolling down nice and slowly. We're going to start by taking the right foot over the left knee, threading our hands through the gap to take hold of the left thigh and just gently giving that a pull in, trying to push the right knee outwards. If you want a little bit more, you can get hold of the front of the left shin, pulls you in a little bit closer, deepening into that stretch. So if in a class we ever do a pigeon pose, and that's something that you struggle with, this is always an option. This works exactly the same areas. And release that, swapping the legs over now, so putting the left on top of the right, bringing that right knee up, taking behind the thigh, or even around the front of the shin, just trying to push that left knee out a little bit to really get into the stretch. Lowering those legs down. We're going to take our knees up, so our shins are parallel to the mat. Open our arms out nice and wide and just take a gentle twist, dropping our knees over to the right hand side, taking them as close to the mat as we can get them, trying to push your left shoulder down into the mat and taking your gaze over your left hand. So a lovely gentle twist. Nice and controlled, roll the knees back through centre, taking them over to the other side now, so rolling them to the left hand side, taking our gaze over our right hand, doing the same stretch on the other side, again trying to push both of our shoulders down into the mat if that right shoulder's trying to come up, which it may well do. Bring them back through centre, and to finish we'll do a nice happy baby. So we'll take our soles of our feet up to the sky, grab hold of the feet from the inside or the outside, whichever works for you, and just have a little rock side to side, pulling those feet and pulling those knees in towards your armpits. And a lovely final stretch before our relaxation. And when you're ready, just release and come into your Shavasana, into your relaxation pose. So your options could be to go into that Shavasana pose where we're lying with our feet wide as the mat, our feet flopping out, our arms are down by our side with our palms facing the sky, gently closing your eyes down. If this isn't comfortable, option to take the soles of your feet to the mat, slightly wider than hip distance apart, and flop your knees in towards each other. You find whatever position works best for you, and just start bringing your awareness back to your breath, bringing that focus to where you can feel that breath in the body. And we're just going to go through a nice, gentle, guided relaxation. So, where you're lying right now, take your focus to your heart space and allow a breath to be felt there. Bring your hands, or bring one hand to rest on your heart, and adjust the touch so it's light and it's just a nourishing gesture. Begin to tune into the energy being released from the palm of the hand. Notice the exchange of heat from the palm of the hand, warming the heart. Allow the heart to respond with the warmth of this connection, and let it soften and expand. Give it permission to open to care, open to love. Now imagine a tiny drop of golden light falling from the centre of the palm into the centre of the heart. From this tiny speck of glistening light, a sunrise is born. Feel the sun rising in your heart. An optimistic sunrise bathed in the excitement of a new day, new beginnings, brightening and widening your horizons. The warmth of unconditional love and self-confidence is woven on the beams of light that spread in all directions, casting light, excitement and inspiration to the dawn of this day. The rays of pure energy move up into your mind, switching on a childlike sense of wonder in the world again. The golden beams move down into your belly, igniting a courage and strength to carve out your own path. The sunrise grows brighter, filling your arms and legs in preparation for the upcoming adventure that is your one wild and precious life. The light brings a glow to your face. It moves into and illuminates all the cracks and corners of your being. The rays of light begin to draw back into the heart now, but a tiny fleck of golden stars are left glistening around the body, the sparks to light the flame of your next adventure. And when you're ready, just bring your awareness back into your room, back into your body. Maybe start bringing a few little movements into that body. So maybe twitching your fingers, twitching your toes, rolling through the wrists and the ankles, maybe rocking your head side to side slightly. If your knees aren't bent, bring the knees up and take the soles of your feet to the mat and just take a gentle roll onto one side and make your way, if you can, still with your eyes closed, up to a comfortable seated position on your mat. Now come back to the sunrise in your heart. Visualize it there now. Feel the sense of wonder and excitement its energy brings, and notice the flecks of shimmering light gleaming all around you. I just want to thank everybody for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this class and I look forward to seeing you all again. Namaste.